Boker Tov, everyone. We are doing some restoration today on the Torah. Today we are focusing on an issue that this poor Torah has been suffering from for a long time, and we are going to remedy that. The issue is these tabs that you can see here. So first I'm going to explain. First, we're at the very end of the Torah, just for those, just to get your bearings. This is the very end of the Torah. You can see the Torah is written in very specific columns. However, when we get to this, it looks very different. This Torah portion is called Ha'azinu, and this is Moses's final, beautiful, poetic soliloquy that he gives, the last chance that he has to address the Israelites. He's been doing it, Torah portion, and this is just the last one, and it is this epic poem. So it's written very differently, as you can see. Also, another issue that we will be dealing with later is all of these creasings and that we'll deal with, but that's for another time. Right now, we're talking about these tabs. When a Torah is assessed, when a scribe assesses what the damage is and what needs to be done, what restoration needs to be done, in addition to charting it all, journaling it, a way of sort of letting the congregation know, and again, letting him or herself know when it's time to go back and actually do the restoration, we use these tabs. This is restoration tape. It is quick release. There's no chemicals in here or in the glue or anything, but it's just a way of kind of quickly pointing out what needs to be done. Here, it's lettering. So when I assessed this Torah about a year ago, I discovered that there were 66 of these tabs on the top and 4 on the bottom. The ones on the top, you can see it says L. That's because lettering needs to be done. The 4 that were on the bottom were for seams, torn seams that would need to be resewn. So 70 tabs that now have to be dealt with. This Torah was assessed 30 years ago. There's actually a timestamp, not only on the Torah itself, but I also have the companion paperwork, the notes from this assessment. So the idea when these tabs are put on is that they will stay for a couple of months between the time when it's assessed and when the work begins. It is definitely not intended to be there for 30 years. This is kind of like what painter's tape is like. You know, if you want to have dark blue on the bottom and then a pale blue on the top, you'll put that painter's tape right at where the difference of the two colors is, so that when you're doing that layer of paint, and it won't spill over into the other color, it dries, you peel it off, you're all done. If you were to take that painter's tape, put it on a wall, come back 30 years later and expect to be able to peel that off with no damage done, obviously that wouldn't happen. And so what we're dealing with is tab by tab. I'm now, as I said, at the end of this. I do have like one other one I have to deal with, but that's another story. So today I'm going to show you in real time. Usually these videos that I make or the pictures that I take, it's like a before, a quick during, and then an after. But I want to give you guys in real time an idea of what it takes to remove one of these tabs. So my tools that I will be working with, these are our dry sponges. You guys have seen these before. This is my magic mix. So I need to dissolve some of this glue. And again, the tabs you'll see they're on the front and the back. It kind of makes a little sandwich. So I need to be able to dissolve the glue, but I can't use any chemicals. So I need something that comes from nature that's going to be a good, I don't know what the other word is besides dissolvent or solvent. Alcohol. But I can't use rubbing alcohol because that's a little too harsh. So what's another kind of alcohol that comes from nature? Grain alcohol. So this is actually a mixture of vodka, and vodka is drying, and alcohol is drying, so we need something that's going to kind of moisturize and spa and put back some emollients into the drying part of it. So I've got some glycerin in here. And the way you know that you mixed it right is you shake it up. And you can see there's some bubbles, but they dissipate real quickly. If I shake this up and it's all bubbles, bubbles, that means too much glycerin. If I shake it and there's no bubbles at all, not enough glycerin. So this is just the right combo of glycerin and vodka. I also have these two scalpels. These are, I have a bunch of scalpels, but these are the ones that I'll be using for this scraping process. Let me see, I've got I need my other glasses. I have my 22 and this is the 22 and this is the 24. They're similarly shaped. There's a curve, actually, let me show you the sharper side, this way. But they have different parts of it. This one is pointier, so sometimes I need like a real pinpoint at the top to gently scrape. Sometimes I need a longer flat side. I need something that's got a curve. So I have found through this process that this is the best combo for me. And I have a brush if I have to brush things off, and some paper towels and my sandpaper. So let us get started. So I'm going to start by taking one of the tabs off, and let's see what's under here. So if you want to come around, my ace photographer, cinematographer Paul is on the other side of the camera. Let me see if I'm going over here. Okay, so I'm going to start removing. The Torah, by the way, is coated. Many Torahs are coated just on the back, and the front, I don't know if you can see the difference. There's even a difference in the color. Let me see if I can move this a little bit. So you can see that there's a difference in the color. This is animal skin. A Torah can be made from 4 different kinds of animals. Everything in the Torah is organic and kosher. This happens to be cow. And so the outside is coated. It's just to protect it, but it's like a little bit harder. The inside of this Torah, where there isn't a coating, it almost feels like suede. It's got like a little texture to it. It's called tooth. And so that's going to allow the ink to sink in nicely. So to remove the glue from the outside, initially I was doing my mixture on the inside and the outside. When we go to the other side, I'll show you why I discovered it's easier to not do it. So I'm just gonna a little bit more. There we go. There we go. So I'm gonna make a little puddle and just rub that in a little bit. It's already starting to seep underneath the underside, and that's going to help to release the glue. I don't want this to just be dripping everywhere. And so now I can just try to kind of peel it up a little bit. And already it's starting to release that. The magic of vodka. Although you guys know, some of you, I'm a Scotch girl myself, but that's okay. I don't want to pull it too hard, but I do want to encourage it to come up. There we go. That's what I was waiting for. Okay. All right. So, got to the bottom of that. And now, so this, you can see the wet, the alcohol is actually seeping through onto the other side. We'll deal with that in a minute. But this is still sticky. So I want to get rid of the old glue on the back there. So now I'm going to actually here's my number 10, a little bit. This is my little guy here. And you can see it's like a milky kind of a coloring. There we go. That's the glue coming up. I don't like that one. There we go. All right, so you can see like this little puddle is kind of gray and milky. That's the very end of the glue coming up. There we go. All of that. So all of that, we got to take it off. All right, got a little bit more over there. All right, so now, if you were here, you could feel that there's nothing sticky on the back of that. That's all, it all feels the same. Let's see what's happening on the inside. All right. So now, originally when I started, I was saturating the whole area and scraping it just like you saw on the other side. But what I found was, and you can see there's like a little watermark here. It took a couple hours for this, and I would scrape off some of it, but after it dried, after a couple hours, I would still go back in and scrape off all the rest of it. And I found that it took too long to do that. So what I'm actually going to do, because some of this, let me see, has kind of seeped through a little bit and is helping to release it on this side. I'm not forcing it at all. I'm just like very slowly and gently peeling this back. I know I shouldn't use that hand, then you can't see. I don't know how close you're getting. If you can see, like the glue.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good. Okay. Okay. So this part here. Ah. Ta-da! So, one down. By the way, while you're looking in close, this Torah, the reason why this column was sort of acknowledged and flagged is because lettering, anywhere where you see like these little white dots, this is all the ink that has cracked, and that dot, that's the Torah coming through. So all this needs to be relettered. But you can also see, now I'm upside down, so it makes it a little more challenging. But this Torah has already been, here you go. So you can see here, let me get this guy to show you. You can see here that this has already been re-inked once. Like you can see this is a little darker, this is darker, but this is light. This has already been inked once. There have actually, I've noticed, and here especially, where you see a letter is like thicker, here. These have been re-inked, and here. So I've seen 3 different hands on this already. So that's another way that we can tell the age of a Torah is how many times has it been restored. So I'm not gonna clean these letters up like here. Well, I might clean it a little, but I don't want to go over it too much and sort of reshape that letter, because I need to leave the trace of when it's been restored in the past, because we need to preserve that history so that we can, again, measure time, but also so that we can honor the work of other scribes that have been working. So, okay, so back to our glue. So you can see here that there's this little watermark. This is going to come off real easy because it's actually still wet. But what I found when I was letting it dry on its own, there were deep watermarks, and I was kind of creating more work for myself than what I needed. This is still, yeah. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to scrape off, put this here. Using 22, I'm going to scrape off the top layer of the glue. And then once I get that top layer of old glue, then I can go in with the 24 and really get down. This is, as I said, this is like our skin. Our skin has layers, so does this. And so I can, and again, I'm going to be keeping my hand underneath so I can feel the pressure of how much pressure I'm putting on with the scalpel on the skin to make sure that I'm going deep enough to get rid of the issue that we're having without going so deep that I cause a hole and then I have to patch it. I do love patching, but we don't like to create more work for ourselves than necessary. So I'm just going to start, and I'm starting at the top. This is, as I said, this feels like suede. So I can just start scraping. Some of this also is just a little bit of surface dirt, so nothing wrong with getting rid of that as well. By bending the Torah kind of up, I'm pressing my finger underneath, I'm pressing it up, so that exposes some of the fibers. You've heard me talk about that when I was fixing some of the ink. So it releases and opens it up and lets me kind of get in underneath where, to the lower levels of the cloth where I need to be. Cloth is the Hebrew word for what the Torah scroll is. It's made out of cloth. It's called cloth. So here's the watermark that was left from this. This was where the vodka was. So it's brand new, so it's going to come out pretty quickly. But I want to blend, so I'm starting from up here to just kind of blend, not just remove it, but blend in the skin so that it all is the same color, hopefully, or close. All right, so I've pretty much done what I can do with that. Now I'm going to go and start again and see if I can't get more of this away. Again, some of this is just surface dirt that was there before, and so I can scrape that away and clean that up as well. Like shearing sheep. very stubborn over here. Here. Here we go. Oops. Tweezers. There we go. I can feel that this is just like this one big solid piece that just wants to peel off, but it can't. Okay. So going to blend this in a little bit. Okay, this teeny little bit here, that's a little bit darker, it's still just a teeny bit wet. When it dries, that little bit will dry the same color as this. And that's good. And now I'll take this, take this guy. Okay, now if we had the ability to do a before and after, you remember the shape of it. Some of these creases, I think, let me see if I can get a little of that off. Yeah. So that is what we did. And imagine what we just did times 70. That's what this phase of our restoration has been. Next we will do cleaning and scraping, and then inking, sewing, see what we can do with these creases here. Not sure how much I will be able to get out. Some of it has to do with age, but also the way the Torah, when it gets rolled and put back in the ark, if it's not rolled tight, if it's loose, and it just kind of folds into itself, and then in 30 years it just kind of sits there. If it's a Torah that's not used a lot, that's how a lot of these creases end up getting in there. But that's our show for today, folks. If you have any questions, you guys know how to reach me. And Shabbat Shalom, it's Friday, so see you next time.